Ladies and gentlemen, Caravan fans, welcome back to Mount Carmel High School's official podcast, Built on Dante. It's still the summer, but we're winding down, getting closer to the first day of school. I've got somebody with me, though, that is going to school a lot sooner than we are. Ryan Gilhooly, alum now of Mount Carmel High School, graduated back in the spring in May. Ryan, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great right now. Just finished my summer. I got a couple of days left. Want to get down here, get on the podcast, get out of here. Say some words.
Yeah, we started the podcast back in the spring. Did a couple episodes for that first season, and we posted on social media to kind of just get it out there and, you know, hopefully get a couple more viewers that way. And this guy was in the comments saying, like, man, I got to get on this, you know, I got to get on the podcast. And I saw that, and I'm like, this is awesome, you know, like dude. Ryan Gilhooly, very charismatic guy, very Mount Carmel guy. So I thought we had to get him on here. It's a little later than we we'd like to. We tried before, but things came up. Little more free time now that things are wrapping up in the summer. So I guess before we talk about your past with Carmel, I'd like to talk about your future a little bit. You know, you're heading to ASU.
Yep.
You know, why? People are going to ask you that a lot. People ask you why you chose Carmel and stuff, but college, there's a lot of little things that add up to a big decision. So why make that big decision to go to ASU?
To be honest with you, I really want to go step out. I want to go see some honestly different land. I want to go west. And when I took a visit to Arizona State, I liked the scene and I liked the vibe there. I think it's almost similar to Carmel. It feels very diverse and very connected in community-wise, and I think that was really big for me. And I also I could see myself going a lot of different places, whether it's like doing things in service, meeting new friends, doing clubs, or just hiking out. I'm a big hiker out there, so I really wanted to get out and be in nature too. And I'm also studying film there, and they have a really nice film school there, so I'm really trying to get into that.
Gotcha, yeah.
Yeah.
I've, been in the journalism world a little bit, not as much as some other big shots and professionals. I have heard that ASU does have a great program with their film and stuff, so that's awesome that you're choosing to go there. But now we got to dive into the best part about you, your time at Carmel.
Yeah.
I didn't know you that much, but I think we talked a little more right around the time you were graduating, and something that popped up, I think I asked a couple people like Christos, I'm like, Gilhooly wants to be on the podcast, like, you know much about him? And something that they said was like, your journey at Carmel is something that, is very notable, I guess. You like to talk about it a lot. So, my first question is, when you came in as a freshman, could you see yourself at that point when you were at Holy Name Cathedral graduating? I almost said Rockefeller, but yeah, Holy Name.
When I was a freshman, that's the thing that they switched it up the graduation spot. So when I transferred as a freshman. Actually, I was a semester at my public high school, and then I transferred here. And when we got there, freshman year, you're gonna graduate at Rockefeller. You're gonna be here at Rockefeller in 4 years. You gotta get your stuff together in 4 years. You're gonna be a Rockefeller. You're gonna be a Rockefeller. So you kind of get that image in your head. But honestly, freshman year, I don't know. I jumped in. Football season was happening like in 2 weeks. Caravan Tough started because of COVID, so you had to jump right into Caravan Tough, and then you had football in the spring, and like almost the end of February was when we really started going. Yeah. So when I jumped in, I was really like football, trying to make new friends and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I wasn't looking too far ahead. I really was trying to take everything in. I feel like I kind of was like, I got to catch up. But at the same time, sports were kind of out that year, so it was kind of dead for that whole half the year. I kind of jumped in right at the same time as everybody.
Yeah, that's something that's pretty unique because while you didn't come here for your full time, it was only a semester you missed, or just that first half of the year, you were still able to experience 4 seasons of Mount Carmel football, a couple in which you did get a ring on your finger, so it's pretty nice. But
that was pretty nice.
That's something that it's something I didn't even really think about, was that there were guys like you that played that spring season, and it honestly, it wasn't all like rah 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 Mount Carmel football at all. No undefeated, like there was no playoffs, so I guess like the motivation was not there, or maybe it was a little different. But man, you guys went from that COVID season in which you played 6 games to just 2 years later. A couple years later, you're here going back to back.
Yeah.
Like, that's awesome. So what was it like? It was a very different ride that a lot of people have here, a very different experience that most people have when they're a player for Mount Carmel football. What was that like to go from playing in a spring season to then heading down to ISU for a state championship?
I think it's kind of fun because, at that time I was all football. I love playing football, right? I want to play as much as I can. So I just finished up a summer season at my public high school. I played there, and then I transferred and I played a spring season. And then we go right after that spring season right into summer workouts, and then we're back into summer football for that sophomore year. So it felt like I had a whole just year full of football, training for football, playing football, weightlifting, everything. And to me, it was like really fun because we just got done playing 5 games, and now you're going to tell me we got 4 months until we got another 9 games. I was just ready to go. I was ready to just get the team together. And I want to say, like, sophomore year, to me, I think is one of the most crucial years in a Mount Carmel football program because you kind of get lost. It's a sophomore team. People don't really go to the games. Freshman year, you did your thing. But you got some real bad dog days with those guys, too. And I think that's where you come together a lot on that sophomore season. And then, right after that, right after sophomore season, rest is history. Everyone knows what happened in 2022,
Yeah, that was something, preparing for this first game against Hunt Academy. As an announcer, I'm trying to just find, like, a couple quick fun facts. Jack Elliott has only lost 1 game in his Mount Carmel career, and that was against Loyola, in which, but that's still crazy because he didn't play on the sophomore team. He went undefeated as a freshman, and then undefeated as the backup to Blaney his sophomore year. Junior year lost to Loyola, which we'll get into a little bit later. But, that's something that, like, man, you're right, though. The sophomore year, it's growing pains for sure.
Growing pains. Good way to put it. Good way to put it.
You're getting ready for varsity, getting ready for Jordan Lynch, and, that elite level of high school football, of Illinois high school football. You're getting ready for it. And losing by multiple touchdowns in multiple games will kind of get you ready for that because you got a bad taste in your mouth when you're a junior. Maybe you're a starter like a lot of those guys are going to be this year. You got a bad taste in your mouth because you remember last year it's like Loyola, they beat us up, like we lost by a lot. Let's go get them, and especially now you're at the varsity level. So that's awesome. But kind of coming back to you a little bit, right? Mount Carmel changed so much after COVID, and you got to experience it for that kind of latter half of the year. You got to experience that spring. So football was still there a lot, but, did you see any changes from then to graduating this past spring? I know when we bring seniors that just graduated or maybe recent alums, when we bring them on the podcast, we kind of like to get their opinion on how the Mount Carmel just kind of environment has changed since COVID and how COVID has changed it. So what are your thoughts on that?
I think the first obvious change is, like, during COVID, probably I'd say the year and a half after COVID, it was kind of down. It felt very – I think the biggest thing was masks, not having masks on and not seeing people's faces. I think that hit everybody.
Yeah. And
it kind of really set the tone as, like, stuff's going on. We can't be close. You can't always, poke and horseplay with each other. You're going to get yelled at just for touching each other because of COVID and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing after that is as soon as masks came off, as soon as, we might have started forgetting about the cleanliness of things, we started having a lot more fun. We started getting a lot closer. And I think, like, in a way, at least for my class, we were so separated freshman year with, like, lunch tables and being close to each other. I think as soon as that got lifted, it was like we really wanted to just get close together. We just really want to talk. We want to get to know everybody. And I think that kind of brought us closer in a sense, being separate at first. So I think that's the biggest change. It's like people were out, and now as soon as everything was gone, it almost came back stronger in a way.
Yeah, obviously things like football even push that even more, which is something we've heard a lot from other people. So, you know, I think Carmel is a place you find your identity, and you know, I think that ties into COVID. I don't want to keep bringing COVID up, but whenever I talk to somebody who was a freshman during that time, I gotta get their opinion on it. You know, you have your mask on. It's hard to kind of make friends or make a name for yourself in a way, and I'd say you certainly did thereafter. You know, everybody knew Gilhooly was this very charismatic guy. So, how did you fight through that? You know, like a little bit where, man, you kind of had your freshman year stripped away just a little bit. You obviously were still able to go to school. I know there is a class that wasn't, or you know, they were at home or e-learning and all that. So how did you kind of find that identity? How did you kind of I don't know, find that R Dizzle effect? I guess I'll bring it up. You know, how'd you find it?
Well, here's the thing. I'll tell you, when I came in freshman year, I think I had a whole different mentality than a lot of guys, because like I said, that first half of the year was like dead. No football, no sports, no nothing. Basketball had gotten shut down right at the start of basketball season. They had a little outbreak, and when I came in, I was like, I want to play football. I want to play football. I want to play football. And I think, you know, they used to call me crazy guy on the field, and they'd say because I'd wear my glasses in school, and then as soon as I took my glasses off on the freshman football field, I'd go run around, jump in the snow. You know, I'd what's it called? I wouldn't wear sleeves out in the cold because it was like raining and snowing all the time, and they thought I was some crazy guy. But you do all that stuff on varsity. I think as a freshman, I was like throwing my body around more than usual. But then sophomore year, I hit a real big struggle. I was going through a lot of stuff in my life. A lot of things were hard. I had home problems, mental problems, self-esteem problems. I had a lot of bad anxiety. I was dealing with depression a lot. And the biggest thing for me is I started talking to Mrs. Norris, and it was more so finding that this place is home for me, and I can feel comfortable here. I don't have to bring the things that hurt me in my life here. And then what allowed me here is this allowed me to grow and really find myself. And I think finding myself was finding love for all my brothers, because that gave me strength more than anything. You know, any reps I got or any touchdowns or tackles, like that never meant anything more than being with my guys on the field. And that gave me more power than anything else. And I wanted to just be the best teammate, the best brother, the best student, the best friend, anything I could be in this school. Yeah. And then I put me on top of that. You know, mixed that being a good brother with being me. And I think that's really where I found myself.
Yeah, it sounds a little cheesy, but you were built on Dante. You know, like
absolutely.
Like that charisma and confidence, you 100% from what I've heard from you, like you built it here. And that's exactly why I started this podcast, is just because people have these stories to tell where it's like, yeah, man, I struggled sophomore year, you know. I went through a lot. Boom, 2 years later, I'm graduating. I have this kind of energy about me, you know, where it's like I want to be the absolute best at everything I can. And it's not in a cocky way, though. And it's in a way where I want to be the best I can be to help others. I want to be the best brother, you know, not to put other people down, but to build my other brothers up.
Exactly.
And that's awesome to me. That is Mount Carmel to me. Yeah. And, you know, when you said you wanted to come on the podcast, I'm like, we absolutely have to get this guy on here, because that's the energy that I want to show incoming freshmen. It's like, here's this guy who didn't even take the entrance exam here, but by the time he graduated, everybody knew he was kind of that guy in a sense. So that's awesome to me. But, you know, we've talked a lot about football. We've talked a lot about things you did after school. What are some other things you found here to kind of make it your home, besides tackling guys out there at Bartadalling?
The biggest thing is the guys. I think this is like When it'd been like 2 months after school, and I'm sitting here, and I got my job. I'm lifeguard, and I'm sitting with my coworkers, and I'm like, God, I just wish I was with my guys right now. I wish I was just with my guys. There's a certain, when you find your group of guys here, you find the guys you work with and you struggle with too, like in your sports, in your school, in your classes. That's where you really find fun in this place, because you're like, oh, no one wants to go to school. No one wants to do homework necessarily. No one's really like waking up every morning looking to do those things exactly. But I like to say 90% of us wake up and like, I'm go hang out with my brothers today. I'm going to school to go have some fun. And I think like the biggest thing too, like after this place, I feel like I've very much hurt in this school a lot, and I've been in some very low times while I was like literally in the school, and I think it's like I've bled in the school, and now that I bleed brown now. I think it's the biggest thing. I feel like I bleed brown, and that's something I found here, and I think a lot of guys bleed brown too. We gotta go pick up chairs in the gym. We gotta go move the mats for the wrestling team, stuff like that. Where you got no problem. It's just what you do here. It's just family. Yeah. Now I bleed this place. Yeah. That's what I think.
And it's little things, it's big things, it's the whole experience. So, but when we bring guys on who just graduated or they're getting towards the end of graduation, they're at the end of their senior year, one thing I like to ask them is, what was their kind of welcome to Mount Carmel moment? Because it's absolutely different for everybody. I've asked pretty much everybody, I think almost everybody on the podcast, what was that one moment where maybe they were a freshman, or I asked Coach Seagroves when he first got here, go check out that episode if you want to listen about that. But man, I think this one has got to be pretty interesting. I've saved it for about 17 minutes, but I should have let off with it. What was that moment where it's just like, welcome to Mount Carmel? That like that stuff you're talking about where you're just you're with the guys. What was kind of that first moment you can remember?
I got two, so it's like kind of two like introductions to Mount Carmel, because my first classes were online. My first classes were on Zoom and Google Meet, Google Meets. Yeah. And then once I got to school and I see these kids, I'm like, wow, these are the guys that I just saw for 2 weeks online doing nonsense, and now we're back, and I guess we're in class. But that in class moment, I don't know. I'll shout him out. I'm in Mr. Glonick's class for biology class. And I didn't have a honors biology book, because I don't know. I've never bought a book, right? I don't know. I was gonna get it online, and I didn't have it at the time. I didn't know we needed a book. No one told me this stuff. And Mr. Glonick after class was just ripping me a new one, telling me I'm an honors kid. I need to get a book, and I'm like, oh, jeez, I didn't know I needed a book. And then Jake Duggar. From the back of the class is like, yeah, come on, Gilhooly. And I'm like, oh, dude. But to me, that's just like, there's a certain standard for the teachers, obviously, but it's also like, I think everyone gets their fair share of, like, you get poked at, Yeah. You kind of get poked at, and that's a way for your friends and your brothers to be like, well, I like you, but I'm gonna poke your buttons because this is how I show you I like you. I think that's very common amongst everybody here, and that was my first time getting poked at, and I was like, all right, at least this guy's talking to me.
Yeah, it's tough love for sure, but tough love, it builds you up, man. Yeah. And an instance like that, you probably got to know Duggar a lot more that way, right? Like,
right after that, he'd call me Gilhooly every day, and then once football started up, it was always him, because I was playing safety at the time, freshman year, and he was throwing the ball, so he'd always like, watch this, Gilhooly, and dump it over my head at Mo Davis or something ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh, man. But that's an awesome story, though. It's because everybody's story is unique. Like, I haven't been told a welcome to Mount Carmel story that was pretty much the exact same or around the same as someone else's. It's so unique. That's why I love hearing them. Because we all remember being a freshman. Like, we all remember being like, oh man, like, you got so many questions.
A little squirt.
You don't know what's going on, but I love those, man. But we're gonna have to come back to this, and you may not want to talk about it, but we're rolling. Huge winning streak, right?
Yeah.
You're sitting there on the sideline, and we lost to Loyola, and I just know you're a very optimistic guy, super positive, right? You're not one to throw your helmet and be like, this is awful,
No.
You're not like that at all. So losing to our biggest rival currently,
Yeah.
what was that like to be on the team for that?
If I'm being honest with you, I was like shell shocked after.
Yeah.
I was rattled. It was kind of unfathomable. It didn't really make any sense. Don't know what happened. It felt surreal.
Mm-hmm.
It felt very surreal. Because I talked with Parker. I talked with Parker Starts before the season. We're talking about how important it is to get 14 wins, how important it is to go undefeated, to be the number one winningest class on the varsity level at Mount Carmel. We really wanted that. And we really wanted to get the team there. And I think we really tried. I think we did everything we could as players. I mean, we could go into everything in that game of why we lost. Who knows? But at the end of the day, we didn't win, right? And I think what really bothered me was my freshman year we lost to Loyola, and it was very similar. It was in the last 2 minutes of the game. It was down by 3 points. So walking off the field again without a win, right? Like on your last season to go be to go be 9-0 again, undefeated, and it was very surreal. And I'm being honest with you, it's still very fresh to me. It hurts. It honestly definitely hurts.
Yeah.
And I think you said I didn't play that game. I didn't get in that game. And the way I felt after was very I went home and I looked in the mirror. I was like, damn, did I not cheer enough? Did I not did I not get the sideline moving enough? Did I not tell a guy, hey, get the next play enough? You know what I mean? And I think that's a representation of Mount Carmel football. I had no business playing the game, but I was still very much a part of the game, and it makes you get so bought into Carmel football. You have that responsibility. You feel that responsibility of being a good teammate.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, every team needs a Gilhooly, man. They need it. They need a hype guy. I'll say it. They need somebody to get them going, and it would have been awesome to have that 28-0, back-to-back undefeated season, but it just wasn't in the cards, right? Wasn't the play, but I do want to talk about maybe a little more uplifting of a game. Providence, senior night.
Providence.
Pouring down. The weather was so bad that the media group, we didn't even try to go up on the roof because we know the tents wouldn't even work. So we just went up in the press box, and before the game, Christos and I were talking. We're like, all right, senior night, who's gonna play? You were one of the first guys. Were like, all right, we gotta do a little research, stats and stuff. So, what was that like? It wasn't your last game at Barta Dowling, but it was an end in a way. It was closure a little bit, not totally, but what was it like to experience that senior night versus Providence?
I think what's cool about senior night is obviously going through years of football or any sport, honestly. When you're an underclassman, you're like, oh, senior night, let's get the game going. You got this whole ceremony, you know what I mean? But once I really was there, before with my parents and stuff, I really took it in. I was like, this is exactly how I'd want my senior night to go. It's a good moment because it's also cool. We were a huge senior class as well. There's almost 40 of us, and it was cool to see us all be there.
Yeah.
And hey, we all made it. We made it to senior night. This is our last home game technically. You know what I mean? But playing the game, it was fun. Providence, tough kids. I mean, usually they're mad because by the time I get in, we're probably up by 30.
Yeah.
So I get in and they're always they're trying to throw punches and pinch me and kick me and stuff, and it's like, I didn't do that to you, man. Come on.
Yeah.
They played tough though. It was a tough game. It was a little wet, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that was part of it was closure for you. And then the other part was, man, I got 5 more weeks of this, or 4 more weeks, whatever, right? Like, and then we did it. We went down to ISU. And as a junior who wasn't even on the team, part of me was like, man, this is over. Like, no, even if, on that bus ride down to ISU, like, part of me was like, well, no matter what, we're going to wake up tomorrow. And a lot of these guys who have had great high school football careers at Mount Carmel, they are no longer going to be players here. And what was that like for you? It's got to be nostalgic a little bit, even though, you weren't getting fired up to necessarily start the game or anything like that, but you were still getting ready. Like, it's the last day you'll ever wear like the pads, the jersey, whole get up. Last time you'll ever be on that sideline with your guys, which earlier you said you value that so much.
Yeah, that's everything to me. I think that was the biggest thing is like, game day was awesome. From getting there at school to getting down to ISU to warming up, it was awesome. Like, getting there to school, it's an awesome feeling of like, all right, I'm with my, I'm a troop. I'm with the troops. The generals are ready. We got everything teed to a line. We're ready to go. We practice hard all week. All we got to do now is get on the bus, get down there, warm up, and play the game. Get on the bus. Everyone's quiet. Listen to your music, whatever. Take a nap. You got time for that. You get there, and I'm being honest with you, I knew we were going to win the game as soon as warm-ups came, because that's the crispest we've ever looked in warm-ups. I mean, the way people are stepping is just, like, perfect.
Yeah.
Because in my position group, I was, like, a senior leader, right? So I'm getting guys moving, and I'm watching Javi Payne. He got to pick that game. I knew that was coming. He looked unbelievably crisp. He was so locked in. Everybody's locked in. Everyone's been waiting for this moment, itching for it. And then come the game, boom, happens, right? Yeah. I think the coolest thing too is like I got the last few plays on the field, so I got to finish the game on the field, which is nice. I appreciated that, and it was like probably my best and my worst day, right? Because best day, you did it, you hit the mountaintop with all your brothers. Worst day, football's over. That was it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I've been playing football since I was 4 years old, and I've had a number of football seasons. I'd play 7th grade football as a 6th grader, 6th grade, or 7th grade football, or 8th grade football as a 7th grader. I played so many football seasons, and like, this is easily the best football season I've had. And after, man, like, I was balling. This is the best day of my life. Yeah. This is awesome. And then the whole other thing I never thought too was taking my pads off for the last time. That was crazy. I was like, wow, I'm never gonna put shoulder pads on again.
Yeah.
And then you look at the jersey and you're like, wow, I'm done being a Mount Carmel football player. You know what I mean? It's a bittersweet. It's bittersweet because you're never gonna have those days again. You're never gonna have that feeling again. But at the same time, it's sweet because you always have it in a sense. Yeah. You know what I mean? You did it right at the end.
Great way to describe it. Yeah. And then I'm not asking you to, how should I say this, play favorites, but what was kind of more bittersweet, graduation or that final game?
Ooh. I'm going to go the football game, I'm being honest.
Yeah, I figured, because that's something that graduation, it feels a little... everybody does it, I guess. Yeah. Every school has a graduation. Every school has the same songs. You walk in, you walk out, or we have the fight song. But everybody has the speeches and everything, and it's great and all. But how many guys can say the last time I ever took my pads off was right after I won back-to-back state championships? Yeah. Like, that's awesome. Yeah. I think when you reach that point, it doesn't matter if you were a top prospect in the state. It doesn't matter if, you started every game. Like, man, your journey's done. You put in that hard work, and and it's not just you. There's plenty of guys on that team just kind of looking at each other in the locker room, probably like, give me the ring, and then 5 seconds later, like, oh, I'm done. It's a lot of emotions. I think mostly good though. So, and I think I'd like for it to happen every year. I'd like for that to happen. But yeah, I think this coming fall, we've got a great squad. We're looking to get ready, and I guess I'm kind of thinking from your perspective here, like a lot of those guys, so in a way you're still going to be attached to this team in the fall, but a couple of years down the road you're going to be even more disconnected from the school in a sense. It's still going to be your alma mater and everything, but that school spirit, it's still going to be there in a way. I guess is the point I'm trying to get across. So, but yeah, I mean, it was awesome to have you up here today, man, talking about it. I still can't get that off my mind when we put out that first or second episode, and you were just in the comments like, man, like, get me on this
dude,
thing.
I just wanted to be on there, dude. I heard about the podcast. I always wanted to do some type of podcast. I always wanted to talk about the school. I always want to get my voice out there and let them know what I think about this place. What I know how. I love this place. It's my home. Yeah. Truly is my home. I'll never forget it. I'll always be back here. Always be back. And I just wanted to say that.
Today is a perfect example because it's August 14th, and I think in 2 days or 3 days, you're gone. You're going to Arizona. So good luck there, man. Good luck with film school and everything. They got a great program out there, I've heard. But man, this is I think this is the last bit of closure is coming on here today. You had a lot of it down at ISU and at Holy Name, but you're finally done, man.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's bittersweet. It's a bittersweet feeling right now, packing up to leave. So, man, good luck with everything. You got anything else, to say to the fans watching from home, listening from home, because this is it for you. So I'm gonna let you have the floor.
All right, I'll say to the students, I'll say first to the football team, go get another ring. To the students, go do something you're good at and go do it together. And for anybody who's not at Carmel yet, get here because it's the best place on earth. That's it.
You know what? I'm gonna put that in quotes. We're gonna put that up somewhere. All right. Gilhooly, thanks for coming on, man.
Of course, man. Thank you.
And to the fans watching from home, good night, Chicago. Thanks for listening.